Hi and welcome to Startup.ro. My name is Andrei Gherasim, and today we're going to discover a Romanian startup, one from the cybersecurity and legal tech vertical. A startup that deals with incident response, a very important subject of today and tomorrow. The startup is called DataTrail, and I have all the three co-founders here with me, Alexandru, Gheorghe, Mircea, Trancă, Andrei Gherasim. Welcome to Startup.ro.
Thank you.
Let's talk about a bit about you. How did you come together, and why did you start basically a startup in this world that mixes cybersecurity and legal tech?
Okay, so I will start. First, thank you very much for having us here. My name is Alexandru Gheorghe. I am a lawyer, and I started thinking about this based on practice. We all deal with incidents, cybersecurity incidents, and GDPR breaches, and we have together a different angle, but of the same subject, which is the incidents. I had this struggle of escalating the process because time is of the essence in this case, and we needed to streamline the process in order to have a very swift decision. And so I thought about this, how we can automate this process, which is most of the time a hasty process. And I first told Andrei about this. It was a discussion we had, I think, 1 year ago.
Yeah.
For 6 months, we thought about it. We let it sink. And afterwards, we said, maybe we should start working on it. And Andrei started to work on the project. Then we brought up Mircea, and he was also as from the beginning in the process. And for about 6 months, we started to work on it. And now we are 5 people. So we have 2 additional engineers, very skilled, very experienced, working with us on the project, developing. One is in Ireland, in Dublin, and one is with us here in Bucharest. And this is how the idea came up. And if you want to...
Yeah.
Sure. Hello, I'm Mircea. I have a technical background. I'm coming with a cybersecurity experience and context to this solution. And recently, I'm also involved in development and leading a team who is building AI solutions. So here we are building a solution which combines both legal, cybersecurity, and AI solution and perspective to support the customers.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, hey, I'm Andrei. I'm in charge of engineering and product development. Been in the industry now for 20 years almost, building large-scale e-commerce products mainly. But obviously, when we talked about it with Alex, we thought it's interesting to tackle this topic. There's an interesting blend between legal departments in information security as well. So how do we enable them to act more quickly and swiftly on resolving incidents? I think also agentic AI applications are ultimately something that enable us to build an interesting product that actually solves their needs and helps people in charge of dealing with cybersecurity incidents to respond more quickly. And this is what the idea that we with Alex brought up a year ago. We started thinking on it. How could we build it? And I think we're really onto something here.
So I heard cybersecurity, legal tech, incident response. So let's start very swiftly by describing DataTrail basically in 30 seconds. How would you do it to a manager of a company? Because of course, not all managers are technical people, but all incidents can affect companies and managers.
And they do. And so we are the first, as Andrei mentioned, legal tech cybersecurity company, which is bringing an automation in the process of incident response. This would be the main focus of our company. Basically, I would sum it up pretty much like this.
What's the need in the market that you identified right now that basically needed a startup like DataTrail?
Well, the regulation is focusing more and more on incident response. We have different laws from Network Information Security 2, because we have a Network Information Security 1, which is updated now. We have the Cyber Resilience Act, which is an EU regulation which will start to apply since 11 of June 2026, gradually until 2027 December. And also we have a bunch of other regulations, for example, AI Act, the notorious AI Act, which also brings an emphasis into incident response that focuses on AI. We have other laws like DORA, for example, for the financial segment. They all deal with incidents. And we saw that the response to an incident, it's not just an obligation, but it narrows down to a very swift response from 6 hours to 30 days. We have to contact and notify different authorities, from GDPR to cybersecurity authorities, in case of an incident. So this is how we said, we saw in the companies that in most of the cases there is an incident response policy which is written, but when we actually have to apply it in case of an incident, it doesn't really work. You all the time see those complicated flip charts with lots of geometrical signs, all sorts of names of roles and functions that have to come up at the table, so bring some kind of initial solution to an incident, which it doesn't really happen, especially in cases where cybersecurity incidents are happening.
They're happening at the worst time possible, and that's actually intentional, right? They're
Fridays
over before a long weekend, and they're intentional because that's when you have the least amount of people available to actually respond to them. So how do we come and address this gap as well, and like knowledge and in the corporate knowledge or response, so that they're able to ultimately synchronize much faster? I think that's also very important.
And how can we act as an enabler for the teams who are handling the incident? And here we're referring especially to significant incident. When we are going outside the pure technical perspective, we need to have the leadership on board. We need to have that specific company having some decisions which may impact their operations, having also the proper communication and legal perspective blended into this crisis or critical incident management situation that needs to be happened. And that's why we need to have an enabler, a tool that will be providing the necessary context and will support those resources working around the clock.
So we have basically going from theory, from having a very good theory inside the company to the practical side of it, and helping companies in responding to these incidents. And I wanted to ask you, talking about practical, how do you do it? How do you help companies respond more effectively to these incidents, but also keeping in mind all these acts, all these regulations that they have to apply and have inside the companies?
Sure. So Notify is an agentic solution which supports or enables the incident response team. In a significant incident, there are multiple streams that are handling the response. We have the technical team, and then we have also the legal, the communication team. Those streams are running in parallel, so the shortest recovery time can be obtained. But on the other hand, they need to be in tight sync, and there needs to be a strong collaboration between those streams. And this is where Notify brings value. It works with those teams in a collaborative way. It's a platform that allows multiple team members to provide input and also read and understand the update provided by the other team members. It collects the necessary information about the impact of the incident, about the possible root causes. It provides guidance to the users in terms of assessing the impact, and then it also provides recommendation in terms of what are the next legal steps that need to be taken. And also it helps the users to prepare the templates and drafts of those documents that need to be submitted to the relevant authorities.
So what you described to me is basically a project manager inside the company, but an agentic AI one.
Yes, and it provides in a very fast pace the first emphasis to what you need to do in connection to what the law requires. So not all companies, and I also have seen big companies which you would think that they have all the resources in place, they have all the policies in place, and those policies, they have to work. And I saw in practice that in such cases, as we said, before Easter, before Christmas, when resources are not around, and few resources are left to handle things, and you don't really expect that something important like an event, an incident would happen. This is where such a solution brings very much value, but also it brings values if people are at work, because you have this first opinion, first response about what you need to do in under 30 minutes. So this is what we pledge. In under 30 minutes, you would have this in the same platform. And also because you have an emphasis of the 30 days legal term, that you have to already know what happened to you. You have to know what is the response, what is the measures that you put in place, and you have to provide all this information to the authority. And also you have to position yourself for the lessons learned. You have all this information already logged in, because logging is also something that the law requires. You have this login into the same platform. So this is an incident response panel that we offer, but we focus on the first 72 hours, because this is where the resources are under pressure.
And why are these 72 hours so critical for a company in responding to an incident?
An incident can have a significant impact on the organization. We're talking about reputation, we're talking about direct financial costs, and also possible legal consequences. Having the right and very fast response, and having the right measures to isolate or to reduce as much as possible the impact of that incident, and avoid what is called in the technical terms lateral movement, basically that attacker or the incident spreading within the organization, is a key success target for the organizations, to limit as much as possible the negative consequences. And we need to consider that technology has evolved, and unfortunately also the attackers have evolved and are using the technology to be more efficient. What took in the past maybe days or weeks for them to achieve now can be done in tens of minutes. So then also the organization needs to step up their processes and the way they work, and have a faster response.
And I heard about the responses attacking when people are not at work, and in different times of the year, having these 72 hours. Talking about the challenges that companies face in this environment, where attackers are more and more imaginative. They use the latest technologies. AI is also used for good things, but also hackers are highly using AI right now. And when I see the companies, they seem organized maybe in silos. In a department theoretically communicates with the other, but not all the time. What are other challenges they face in today's world?
Can I jump on it?
Of course.
In my opinion, there are questions you can, in this situation, in this moment in time, certain questions that pop up in these cases when you have an incident should not actually be a question, should be a response. You cannot ask yourself in 2026, who should we call? Who should deal with this? Who should jump on this task? Where is the incident response policy? Because we want to look at it, see who are the involved parties in an incident response. You cannot have this. Everything should be already there. This cannot be a question because you lose time. Getting back to the legal terms, from you have an obligation to inform the authority in 6 hours after the incident happened and after you know about the incident. If you know about an incident, we saw in practice that in most of the cases, it gets to this question: is this an incident or not? And you always have to go to what the law requires, to what the law defines as an incident. In some cases, you have an incident. In some cases, you have a significant incident. So you need to know already how to distinguish between those two, because you have to notify to the authority. This is why the product is called Notify, because you have to notify to the authority certain things about the incident, about what you are doing, the first response. So it's a very initial action that you have to take. In this situation, 6 hours, 24 hours, 72 hours, and 72 hours is required by actually two laws, Network Information Security and GDPR. So in case you have an incident that you have an obligation about concerning two laws, you have to position yourself to notify two different and separate authorities. So in this case, certain questions cannot be asked because you don't have time. Right now, in this legal environment, you don't have time to, you have no time to lose finding out resources. Notify brings them all in under 30 minutes. You already know what you have to do. And now I will let my colleagues.
Yeah. I think it's important to also talk a bit about how we do it and why, like maybe we've talked a bit about LLMs and agentic. You mentioned also it's being put up for bad uses. And yes, it is. It's becoming more and more prevalent in our industry. But ultimately, you mentioned as well, it's like a project manager. It's like a program manager. It's like, because in the end, for an incident or throughout its duration, there's a life cycle to it, right? It starts with the initial assessment, and this is where Notify comes in and collects the information, or has sources, data sources where it can pull in information about maybe anomalies, right? That could, or incidents that have not been yet tagged or labeled as significant, and can help with this initial assessment in like escalating the severity of this incident into something that is a significant one. It helps, with what's the impact, the measure in collecting information about the impact on the end users, summarizing it, even translating, because you have people that ultimately we make an assumption everybody speaks English, but reality is, I can tell you, in Germany at least, not everybody speaks English. And then as we collect, as this life cycle evolves of the incident, we collect even more information about what the findings are, because all of this ultimately, that's why you have distinct timelines. You have the initial assessment, which tells you, how big it is, but then you start discovering a lot more details up to the 30-day timeline, right? Where you're actually responsible of submitting the latest information and latest assessment. And all of these ultimately are collected as facts about an incident. So Notify is designed to actually store an arbitrary amount of information about the incident that can be used then to further enrich the data. we provide this collaborative approach. So agentic is one thing, right? It helps us collect and sift through the information, or also have kind of take in the different procedures and processes that exist in large companies, and we have to acknowledge that. But at the same time, it brings together the people that collaborate, because you have a fairly large team. And I think we measured, and we actually got confirmation recently about this. There are about at least 7 senior individuals involved in dealing with an incident. Obviously, there's a lot more. There are a lot more beneath, but like really at the senior level, you have on average 7 people that need to be coordinated with an incident response. Whether that's IT and information security, whether that's legal, and also like the senior executive team. And Notify allows us to bring all of them together. All of these information that we collect, like obviously. We hope our customers don't have too many incidents, but there will be. So then you can collect them and create kind of a corporate memory, a company memory that then you can access for further enriching the incident response in the future. So that's also one of the interesting benefits of being able to use the LLM technologies, and we believe in this because you can create this data set, this search index ultimately for a company that then you can access. Everybody will ask, okay, so how do you do this? Because they're so super private information. And I can tell you we're secure by default. We store everything in individual individual secure vaults where even us don't have access. And that has been designed as a day one feature because we don't want to be exposed. We're exposing our customers or risk exposing our customers to data breaches, particularly, and we understand the severity and the significance of the information we're collecting.
Also, I want to signal something in connection to what you said, Andrei. It's we know that the Cyber Resilience Act, the regulation which will come in force in June, as I said, gradually, it's bringing a lot of requirements about security controls that have to be embedded into products, digital products. And we have an annexes where we have all these controls which are listed there. We know about it, and we are going to introduce all these requirements into our product already. So we follow very swiftly what the law requires to have as a security control into our product.
So I understand about basically documenting the process, an incident, preparing the right documentation to notify the authorities. But besides that, besides this role of understanding an incident and maybe correcting the people along the way that need to respond, do you also intervene technically in the incident? I don't know. In my mind, when I read first about DataTrail, I thought, is it more consultancy or is it more like a firefighting team that comes to the rescue of the people in the company?
We want to automate the process. Our emphasis, our focus is on incident response. We do not intervene technically afterwards. Of course, we have much experience, lots experience into compliance, into consultancy. We can do that, but as a separate project, independent of the product that we are discussing about, we can discuss about consultancy, and we want to do this, let's say, on an exceptional level. This is another business for us. However, our emphasis, our focus, it's the product. We don't provide consultancy. We provide an automation of the incident response policy.
And actually, we are using our experience and our know-how, and we're blending this know-how in the product that we're building. And we're transferring and sharing this experience with our customers.
What I think is also important, though, to understand, well, we don't offer consultancy on incident response because that's not our core business. Yeah. We do absolutely want to work with our customers and understand what happens during an incident and how can we make our product better. So it's more about collaborating rather than helping our customers as such through building a better product that meets their needs, rather than really hands-on helping them in an incident, which again, it would spread us too thin.
Yeah. But I'm curious because is it like let's describe it as a ready meal for companies? Because if you put the best meal inside a company that doesn't have the right processes, it has issues. It may not. It may lack the results. So how do you assess the companies you start working with to see if they are ready, basically, for your product?
Yes, we challenge the companies to think about their policies. First of all, we focus on about 200,000 companies within EU. So our main focus and the product is about the activities of these roughly 200,000 companies mostly. We recommend the product for all companies, small and medium businesses. But the network information security provides two annexes, and there are a lot of companies and activities listed there, but they are big companies. In case such a company, an essential company and an important company, has a cyber incident, for example, an energy power grid company, they are considered essential companies. In case a financial banking system falls down because an incident, they have to have processes in place. These are the companies that they should not have questions, initial questions about the incident. We provide this possibility to have this.
And the solution is built in such a way that each company could add specific context that is relevant for their domain, for their company. They could enrich and add an additional, let's say, layer of know-how and knowledge that will be used to support only them, because this will be a company-specific database that will be used in the solution to, let's say, run the whole process. And this way, the tool will be much closer to their way of working and will be pertinent to what they're doing.
But how do we assess the companies? This was the question. I felt like I did not respond, but how do we assess the companies? How do we know the companies are in this situation? Based on practice. The idea came based on practice. We saw it. We saw that large companies, even large companies, they don't have all the processes around an incident in place. In most of the cases, they didn't have important incidents so far. So the challenge is to start looking at the possibility that you would actually have an incident where most of your databases will be blocked, encrypted. You have no access. You have a ransomware. What are you going to do? Who are you going to call? And what is the legal obligation that applies to you right after the incident? We saw, and this is where I respond to the question about assessment, we saw that in these cases, opinions matter. And we provide an opinion which is which gathers legal emphasis of what is an incident, what type of incident, what is the legal requirements, what is the security controls you have in place, recommendations, and also we provide the login that would help you later for the 30 days term when you have also lessons learned. And
At the same time, I think we need to recognize we have a broad spectrum of maturity in the organizations. And while, we have cases and concrete cases where the maturity was not at where we would expect a company of that size to be, there are others that are. So as such, we need to build a product that ultimately we have a pretty broad base of essential and important customers that would definitely benefit from Notify. So the balance of finding the right balance of maturity and how we model the processes in order to help actually companies that do have well-designed processes put in place to actually augment them and provide the value where it is needed, such as coordination between the different departments, particularly when dealing with large incidents. So you have legal, again, IT, InfoSec, PR, right, public relations, because you need to communicate broadly to your customer base if they're ultimately impacted. So all these customers, we need to be able to build a product that matches their needs. I think we're onto obviously building that with Notify.
And correct me if I'm wrong. Basically, no matter the maturity of a company and their IT team and their policies and the external enterprise cybersecurity products they use, one way or another, every company will have an incident.
Yes,
This is the philosophy they should base their existence on.
Yes.
If you didn't have it, if you didn't see it,
you're at least not prepared. So we're actually thinking a bit later, and we're talking with Mircea to maybe add later into the product development a phase where we actually help companies practice for this, because it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when an incident will happen. The attack vectors become more and more diverse, and also especially there's an interest in impacting essential and important entities, and as such they need to be prepared to respond to fairly large impact. Like we can imagine the type of customers we're addressing, either in energy sector, in health and pharmaceutical, food production and retail. So
transportation,
all of them would have, any incident there would have a significant impact on its end customers
and on the society.
Yeah.
And having a rehearsal of such incidents, what we call tabletop exercise, is basically a dry run of a potential incident, is let's say the normal preparations that help the organization have the proper response when the incident will happen. And we're blending in our tool and continuing to also facilitate this kind of let's say dry runs.
Yeah, exactly.
And before going further, I wanted to just to clarify for those who are watching us or listening us. Alex, you mentioned incidents and serious incidents. I think significant incidents. Yes. Let's just describe very simple what's an incident and what's a significant incident.
Yes, according to what the law requires, an incident, it's a situation when networks are, let's say, shut down, or they are having some kind of trouble, and the users cannot work the networks, they don't function, and we have
so the incident is that situation, that circumstances when there's an impact either on the confidentiality or the integrity or the availability of let's say the IT environment of a company. This is broad because also the attack vectors and the types of issues that can happen are quite broad. Now the volume of incidents is big, and the key point is how does a company can have the proper, let's say, methodology and the proper decision flow to draw the difference and decide if an incident has a significant impact. And here there's a legal requirement that describes this approach. There are two perspectives in terms of impact on the customers that company is supporting, and also the financial impact of that incident. And if those criteria are being fulfilled, then the company needs to define that incident as significant, and then it needs to fulfill the legal obligations. Mature companies have their own decision metrics. They have their own process and as much as possible objective criteria that allows them to have the conclusion. But there is always a nuance in this, and of course there are also multiple companies who haven't reached that maturity level and who will benefit from Notify, because we are providing the initial assessment and the initial proposal for them.
But the difference from incident to significant incident, there is a size let's say, a size aspect that we need to take in place. An incident is defined when one system is shut down. However, if that system is core for your business, it can be a significant incident. It can lead to major shutdowns. It can lead to an entire network of facilities being put down. In this case, the law makes a distinguish between what is an incident and what is a significant incident. It is a size situation, and also it brings into discussion the potential of what can happen. So what is an incident is a complex discussion. Also, you don't have a definition in one law about what is an incident. You have a definition in multiple laws. And each of the law brings an emphasis into their regulation objectives. One is an incident which is defined by AI, AI law. One is an incident which is defined by the Network Information Security, NIST 2. So this is, but it's also a question that companies have. What type of incident we have, because we have multiple types of incidents. But my tendency is to call an incident when we have a legal situation. It can also be a potential incident when you have some kind of data which are stolen, disseminated. You also have an incident, and it's cybersecurity. It embeds cybersecurity incidents. They pretty much define all types of incidents, and this is why multiple responses can be discussed.
I like to ask sometimes maybe stupid questions. So I look at you, Alex, and you're a lawyer, so it's going to be double stupid from my part. And I know these are the laws, but let's explain very briefly, why is it important to notify the authorities? I mean, I'm thinking, as a company, you are working to make a profit, you are fighting hackers if they attack you, you have another issue, you have to notify the authorities and communicate with them. Why is it important?
This is not a stupid question. It's actually something that I'm hearing for the first time. And it's a very interesting question from my point of view. And the first thing that comes to my mind is the following. In Romania, for example, we have two authorities which are mirrored in all the other states. You have a data protection authority, a data protection supervisory authority, and it's linked to GDPR incidents. And you have to notify in 72 hours in case of an incident where personal data is being prejudiced. And you have the National Cybersecurity Directorate, which you have to notify in case of a cybersecurity incident. The general knowledge is that if you notify the data supervisory authority, you will be investigated, and most probably a fine, a sanction will happen. If you notify the National Cybersecurity Authority, they would collaborate with you in dealing with the incident. So this is the first thing that comes to my mind. We have an authority which helps you. We have an authority which comes and which says something, you did something wrong. You had an incident because you did something wrong. Something was not in place. It should have been, but it's not. So this is you are fined. You are already suffering because you had an incident, and now you have to pay a fine.
Yeah.
So why do authorities need to know? Well, the legislator wanted authorities to be part of the incident response process. They need to know because they need to help you. They also need to do their job in making sure that they work with the companies, they work with public authorities, which can be the target of these incidents, and together they have to face them. So I would answer your question, which is actually a very good question, and we can answer it from philosophy to what's written in the law. Is that they have to know first, because they need to help the companies, not to make money out of the incidents, along with the hackers. So
this is a question I will have for another episode of a podcast.
Yes.
Maybe generally called "Why should we respect the law?" But there's this. I heard this issue from different perspectives. Some people say Europe regulates, America innovates, and I forgot about what China does, but it innovates on a different speed. But I heard also people from the cybersecurity area that say that this approach of having regulations, having laws in Europe will help companies in the long term. Maybe they are not as fast as today as an American or Chinese companies, but in 5 to 10 years, they will be stronger and more resilient. How do you see this approach?
I totally agree. Like ultimately, specifically the NIST 2 regulation is meant to ultimately raise awareness of the need of having well-designed processes that are actually tested and you are accountable, you're held accountable, right? There has to be somebody that holds you accountable that is external to the company that ultimately demands, hey, you need to have these put in place because it's a very important thing. And there are tons of risks in the world. And I think these are obviously meant to raise awareness. I could say the same thing about GDPR in the end, right? Like everybody says, hey, it's super complex. And I live in the country that ultimately invented GDPR, right? And I can tell you, Germany is way better at controlling privacy. But in the end, you actually realize your data is safe and the data is very important. And I don't know if anybody of you remember, but 20 years ago, identity theft was a day-to-day thing. Like you could get your credit card or personal information. Somebody would come up with a credit in your name, and this is becoming less prevalent in Europe. And I think it has to do with GDPR because companies are much more accountable of the data and how they handle it. So yes, it might seem it makes us slower. It seems that we're not innovating, but we're also proof that a legislation is raising innovation by us finding a way where we can actually innovate in the sector and make a product that actually helps the companies meet the requirements.
The requirements. I'm a lawyer. For me, whenever we have a new law, it's good business for me, right? So you need to comply with the law because we all agree that the law makes sense. So I don't agree that you have to comply with the law because the law says so. You also have to be implicated in making sure the law is applicable and it makes sense. So this is why you should know the law because it should make sense for you and for the others in the society. So now we get to what the social contract means. But I would say that a law is an opportunity and it offers predictability. Now we know what we all need to do. This is predictable. Predictability means stability. So I think this is the opportunity the law brings into the business. You have a regulated business, so you have predictability within that law. Without the law, we can run to the end of the world. There is no boundary. Sorry,
No worries. So, additionally to the legal component, NIST 2 provides also like a framework to the companies, and especially within the EU area, it helps the companies that have entities across multiple countries to have a common framework, a common backbone, so that in the end helps them save some costs because they have a unified and consolidated approach, and they can apply that with some specific country requests, but say majority of the requests are common, and we're talking about principles, about best practices. So those are being shared, and for the companies, it's easier to scale and to have a uniform approach.
And as a company, how will you make money out of this product, Notify, from the company DataTrail?
So we're making a SaaS offering, right?
Mm-hmm.
So our product is a SaaS offering, which means that we expect customers to onboard on the platform, and we're designing this in such way the platform that it offers the privacy and data security guarantees, so that customers trust our product. As such, with a SaaS offering, right, we're looking at the subscription model where, since we're dealing with fairly large customers, we will be obviously addressing it through an annual subscription that also ultimately helps us fund the project further and be able to build new product features, be close to our customers. And I think this is the most important thing. We have a customer first approach where we really want to listen and help and build a tool and a companion that helps companies build their processes and enhance their processes in a seamless way. We do have also set up for ourselves a very ambitious goal for 2026, where we're aiming that by the end of the year to have onboarded 10 customers. Now, it is very ambitious, but I think we also like to have a challenge, and it's something that drives us ultimately, and we see the opportunity as well.
But where are you now? The target is 10 customers, and we're talking about medium big companies. Where are you now in talking with these companies, maybe deploying later on in the year the product?
We had a discussion already with a big customer, with a big client from Romania, but also is localized in Europe. And we have some interest there. We also have a healthcare company, a discussion that we are planning for sometimes next week. So we already signal in the market that we are around. We also want to signal the market that they can contact us, because we have this product that comes from a legal obligation.
Mm-hmm.
And so we already started, but we did not want to make a post on LinkedIn about it. We wanted to come straight, showing our team, showing what we can, what we are developing, and so now we are taking a moonshot.
Mm-hmm. And regarding investments that you want to maybe have this year, talking with funds and so on, how do you see it? Is it a path for you?
So for us, like we've got so far self-funded,
Mm-hmm.
and this is also done through the humongous efforts of everybody involved in this project. Like we also have our day-to-day lives that we need to carry on for now. So I think it's actually impressive where we got in such a short time to actually have a demo with a couple of big customers where we can show a product that obviously is rough on the edges, but the main idea is there, implemented. So we want to continue in this path of like self-funding, because it's important for us to also be able to retain the product innovation and the concepts in this group, rather than handing it over too early to an investment fund that will have a very strong opinion about what needs to be built without actually having the hands-on expertise that, you know, Alex, Mircea, and myself bring. We strongly believe that we want to carry on, and we'll do so as long as we can.
Yeah. So thank you very much for this talk, for sharing this information about DataTrail, about Notify, and I hope to see you at the end of this year with those 10 clients, maybe more.
Hopefully.
Yeah. And good luck for you.
Thank
you
you
for
very
having
much.
us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you all for watching us. If you are a big company that knows that it will have an incident sooner rather than later, you can contact the team from DataTrail. You will have the information in the description of the video, in the article on startup.ro, and so on. So keep safe and have a good day.